Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm just hopping on here today because it's been pretty much a year since I released my video that was all about how I was struggling with finding jobs on my working holiday visa and asking sort of for your guys' experiences, how you were finding it. And I have had so many people commenting, reaching out, saying that they had a similar experience to me where they've got over here, they've got qualifications, they had fairly good jobs in their own country and they were coming over here with the expectation that they'd be able to pick up a job, not necessarily the same thing they were doing at home, but something of some kind, and they've really struggled. And I sort of thought I'll hop on here because I've been over here for a year now. I've managed to get a couple of jobs. I've been very lucky whilst I've been out here, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not been easy. And I don't think it gets any easier the more times that you apply for jobs either. So I just thought I'd do an updated video really about my experience. So yeah, I first came out to Australia last year, so February 2024. So my visa has only actually just renewed, so for 2025, and my experience will be slightly different to some other Europeans because I'm British. I don't have to do the farm work, which if you have to do that, like, I feel for you, because it is so competitive to get jobs doing that sort of thing. And I think I wouldn't still be here on my second year visa if I'd have had to do my farm work, because I don't think I'd have managed to do it. But anyway, so last year, after I released that video, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll have seen that we got very lucky in that we both myself and my partner Myron, we managed to get jobs working at a car rental place. It was a complete fluke. Basically, we'd applied for so many jobs online through Seek, also by going around and handing out CVs and things, and we just heard nothing back, and we were both feeling really disheartened because our money was running out. And we were like, do you know what, we're just gonna hire a car for a few days, we're gonna go do a bit of exploring and then just start afresh. And basically we got chatting to the people at the car rental place, and they were also on a working holiday visa. They were about to leave and they were like, do you want our jobs? So that was the first job that I had over here in Australia, and I did it for probably about 5 months, I think, in the end. So we did that right up until we did our road trip round the north of Australia, and it was good. It was really good. Like, it was regular hours of work. It was 38 hours a week. They actually paid for our lunch for probably the first 4 months, and then in the last month the company changed its policy, so we got free lunch. We had regular hours of work. The pay wasn't the best, but like, it was livable, and we'd also managed to find some cheap accommodation, which was fantastic as well. So that meant that we were able to save quite a bit. So yeah, it worked. It was hard work, definitely character building, some of the people that you meet in that environment. As it was a budget car rental place, it was, let's just say, I've got some interesting stories to tell. So yeah, but it served its purpose. We were able to save some money and we were able to live and experience the area that we were in. So yeah, it was great. And then our plan was basically, we drove up to Cairns, across to Darwin, and then down to Perth, and our plan was to work in Perth. Now, I had decided that I didn't want to have to go through the same scenario of when we first tried to get jobs and not being able to get anything and waiting for ages. So whilst we were still traveling, I applied for loads of jobs. I applied on Seek for loads of things. I reached out to a few companies as well. I was just sort of looking for anything really that I thought I could do. So anything that was sort of admin based, hospitality work, even like some pickpacker jobs and things like that. So fairly basic jobs not to say that in a rude way, but sort of fairly low-level jobs that don't require too much knowledge, as in like the company doesn't have to give you too much training. They're likely to hire someone who's on a working holiday who's not necessarily going to stay for that long. And I heard back from 2 companies, so both of them it was to do with sort of sales roles. One of them was actually with HelloFresh, and one of them was with a marketing company, and they're both kind of a similar role. It was basically promoting their products to customers, and you got paid a salary, and then you also got commission. So I was like, great, I've landed in it here, like this is going to be awesome, because that was the sort of thing that I thought I might like to do work-wise, sort of more of the sales kind of thing, because that was what I was doing in the UK. So I was really looking forward to that. Got here, had an interview, got the job, got started, and it was not what I was expecting at all. It was basically cold calling and knocking on people's doors and trying to get them to sign up for HelloFresh, and it was great. Like, don't get me wrong, the team was so lovely. It was such a lovely group of people, and pretty much everybody that was doing it was working holiday people. Loads were from Leeds, which is my town that I'm from at home, which was really funny. So yeah, small world, but it was just not for me. I think as well it didn't help that it was starting to come up to summer, and we were just out walking the streets for like 7 hours, and it was just so hot, and I was just finding it completely unbearable, and I was like, I can't do this. So I actually quit after probably like, I think I stayed maybe 3-4 weeks. I just decided that I couldn't do it. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I loved the people there. I just couldn't do the work because it was making me unwell. Like, pretty much every day I came home from work I had sunstroke, and I just felt miserable. Like, I just felt like I was wasting my time just wandering around the streets and annoying people as well. Like, when I'd applied for the job, I was hoping that I'd get put on the kiosks in the shopping centres, because I felt like I'd be better at that sort of thing, because with my old job in the UK I used to do a lot of like trade fairs and things like that, or networking events where I'd be on a stall, I'd be talking to people, so that's not something that I'm afraid of doing. But yeah, I didn't get to do that at all, so yeah, I didn't stick with that. And then this was just before Christmas actually, so yeah, before Christmas, and I then applied for loads of jobs. Like, I applied for so many things again, online, in person, and got nothing back, heard nothing back. And I was like, okay, it's Christmas, maybe I'm too late for the Christmas temp roles, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to give myself a bit of time off to just chill, to get my head sorted, because after the road trip I just felt really unsettled, and I felt like I was sort of all over the place. And I feel like, it sounds really weird, but I had loads of like personal admin things to sort out just in my life, like just bits and bobs, you know, that sort of build up over time. So I just decided, you know what, I'm not gonna apply for anything now. I'll apply for stuff that would start after Christmas, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. So anyway, did that, had Christmas, had such a lovely time, and then started applying for stuff again and again. I applied for so many roles online and basically got nothing back. I had an interview for a role at a university for a lab assistant, and got through to the final stages of interview for that, but unfortunately got pipped to the post by somebody else who, reading between the lines, had a better visa than I did, or was a permanent resident, which is very frustrating because I was more than qualified for the role, and it would have been great because I'd have loved doing that role. So that was really frustrating. And at the time my boyfriend was actually working for a gymnastics gym, so that's another thing. I'm a qualified gymnastic coach, and I was actually coaching back in the UK before I came over to Australia. And when we lived on the East Coast, I inquired at the gyms over there whether I could coach on my British qualifications. And they turned around and were like, no, you have to get them converted. And to convert them was going to cost pretty much the same price that I had to pay to get my original qualification in the UK, which is just ridiculous. And it could take up to 3 months to do that. So there was no way I was going to be able to coach over there, which was a real shame because that was what I was hoping to be able to do. Anyway, came over here to Western Australia, and they seemed pretty happy for my boyfriend to coach on his UK qualifications. So I hadn't been planning to coach out here, just because I didn't think I was going to be able to after what we'd experienced on the East Coast. Anyway, I just decided, you know what, I'm not getting any luck with these lab roles, because I'd applied for quite a few because there's a lot of mining companies over here who need lab technicians and things like that. And I was like, great, I've got 2 degrees in science, like surely this would benefit me in this role. I've got experience doing this, I have a master's. Anyway, it's very competitive, and I didn't hear back for quite a few months actually about the roles, but yeah, I wasn't successful in any of those. However, I reached out to a few gymnastics gyms in the area, and I actually had 2 gyms that said, we'd love to have you for an interview, we'd love you to come down and just see what we're about. So I started working for 2 gyms part-time, and then actually transitioned to 1 gym. So I'm now working there, I'd say probably like 20-25 hours a week. So it's not a full-time role. And with a gymnastics gym, it's hard to get full-time roles, but I'm basically picking up as many hours as I can. And I have to say, I love it. I love it so much. I think I work like 3 till 7 most evenings, and then I work a Saturday morning, and it just means I have the rest of my day to do whatever I want. And because I'm only working part-time, I'm only doing like 20 hours, the pay is not great, but we've got really lucky over here with our rent, in terms of it's fairly low, which means that even though I'm not doing a lot of hours and I'm not earning a crazy amount, it means I can still afford it. However, I'm not really saving that much money at the moment. So yeah, it's an interesting one, because it's like you sort of got to take what you get given, and it is frustrating because I feel like your whole life growing up, particularly in the UK, you're told do well at school, then you can go to uni, do well at uni, then you can get a job. And it's sort of made out like if you've been to uni, you can get any job you want anywhere in the world. And I feel like there's almost this, I don't know, I feel like this sort of unspoken thing that like UK qualifications are held in really high regard, or I feel like that's what British people think in the UK, that their qualifications are held in really high regard all around the world. And that's not what I've experienced over here in Australia. Like in Australia, it's like you might have a qualification, but actually we want you to have our qualification. If you're not prepared to do that, then we're not going to offer you any jobs. And I also think as well that it is, if you're applying for jobs online, it's very discriminative. Is that even a word? Discriminatory? I don't know. Anyway, I feel like they really discriminate, because on every single job that you apply for, you have to say what visa you are on. And I feel like most companies probably have a filter, and it's like filter out anyone that says they're on a working holiday visa, which is so frustrating, because it's like, just put on the job ad that you don't want working holiday people to apply if that's the case, because I've just wasted probably at least an hour applying for your job and you're not even going to look at it. Anyway, sorry, I'm ranting, but I do find it very frustrating, because I feel like there are a lot of people over here, not just from the UK, but from all over the place, that are really well qualified, they have a lot of experience, and they could bring a lot to the table, and they are being discriminated against just because of having this working holiday visa. And I feel like there needs to be some sort of incentive to that the Australian government gives to businesses for taking on working holiday people and for employing them. And again, the 6-month rule is really tricky in itself, because yes, you're coming over here on a working holiday, the whole point is that you're traveling, but actually to build up enough money to be able to travel, you need to work somewhere for at least 6 months, because otherwise you just don't have enough money to move around, because it's not cheap, particularly accommodation and things. So yeah, and then you get to the end of the 6 months and you have the whole palaver of going back to zero again, of having to find a new job from scratch, because you can't work for the same company unless you get like a special thing from the government saying, yeah, it's almost like a special thing. The company has to apply, or you have to write to the government and say, the company needs me, can I stay on? And you have to get permission to stay on longer than 6 months. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating, because like for instance with us in Perth, we're probably planning to be here longer than 6 months, which means that I'm gonna be able to work for this company for 6 months, and then I'm gonna have to say to them, I'm sorry, but I can't work here anymore, and I'm gonna have to work somewhere else. And not only is that bad for them, because they're like losing me even though I'm staying in the area, it's bad for me because I'm literally back to being jobless again. And if I'm jobless, unless I've got savings, that potentially means that I can't afford my rent. So it is tricky, it's not easy, and it just means that you feel really unsettled the whole time. Yeah, I don't know if other people feel that, but just sort of feeling really unsettled the whole time, like you are a long way from home, you feel homesick a lot anyway. Well, I know I do, particularly when exciting things are happening at home and I can't be there for them, and then to feel like sort of you can't build a routine, because you just get into that routine and then everything changes because you have to get a new job. It's not easy, but I definitely think the things that I've learned are, don't even bother applying for jobs on Seek or Indeed or online for that matter. Like, have a look at what's available and then think about what basic skills you have. Can you talk to people? Do you have hospitality skills? Are you good at admin? Are you strong? Like, just basic skills like that, and try and find a job that is related to that. So for instance, Myron also works for a removals company because he's strong, and they absolutely love him there, and there's a load of other people from working holidays who work there as well. And it's just, again, they're the sort of things where it's almost like you just sort of have to show up and show your face, and it sounds weird, but show that you're not a weirdo. Like, just turn up, show that you're normal, and get chatting to somebody, because I really feel like over here, like I've said already, it's not about applying for the online jobs, it's about who you know, it's about talking to people, and literally just about turning up and showing willing. So yeah, if you're struggling to get a job, genuinely, I would have a look around your area, have a think about the things you'd be happy to work in. Like I said, can you do hospitality? Can you do like some manual labour kind of things? Do you have the accreditations for it, like the RSA, the white card? I think the manual labour one's a pink card, maybe? Don't know, that's off the top of my head. But anyway, do you have those sorts of things? And just turn up somewhere and ask if they've got any jobs going, leave your CV with them, pop back a few days later or next week, and just be persistent basically, because online I feel like so many people are just using ChatGPT and just copy paste send, that a lot of the jobs I applied for, it literally said that 600 to 900 people applied for these jobs. Like, that's insane amounts. There's no way the businesses are ever going to look at that, so no wonder they filter out the working holiday people. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling, so I just sort of wanted to hop on and, like I say, tell you a little bit about my experience so far, my journey so far over here, and also to show that it is possible to get a job. It always takes longer than you think it's going to, and it's always going to be harder than you think it is, and that just basically try and save as much as you can so that you are prepared in the instance that you might not be able to get a job. Because genuinely I thought that I was going to have to go home before the end of this visa, before the end of my first visa, because I was really running out of money, because we'd just done this big road trip. I pretty much spent everything up. I then ended up quitting the job because it was making me poorly. If it hadn't been making me poorly, I probably would have stuck with it, but yeah, it was making me unwell, and I was like, I can't sacrifice my health just for a job. So yeah, I had enough to live off for a few more months, but I think had I not been able to get this gymnastics job, I really would have been struggling. So anyway, I just sort of wanted to show you that it can be done. It's not going to be easy, and you will hit rock bottom. It will test you. You will learn a lot about yourself, and you will realise, I feel like it's taught me what I want in life, what I don't want in life, and it has really pushed me to my limits being on this working holiday. And I've learned so much about myself and what I will and won't tolerate, and what I can and can't tolerate more, really. And hopefully, like I say, I've got this job at the moment at the gymnastics gym. Hopefully I'll be able to find something else in 6 months' time when my time's up with this company. There's a couple of other gyms that I could potentially work for, or whether I try and find something else. Another thing that lots of people seem to be doing over here in Perth is working in the mines, but that seems to be highly competitive, like really hard to get into. But again, I feel like it's who you know, not what jobs you apply for. So yeah, if you have any friends who work in the mines and you're interested in it, definitely see if they have any contacts, because I feel like that is the way in, not through applying for jobs on job sites. But there we go. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that little update, and yeah, it definitely isn't easy, and I'm not gonna lie, I've shed a lot of tears over the amount of time I've wasted on applying for jobs, and felt really crap, because it makes you feel worthless. It makes you feel like you're useless, and that's really hard knowing that. And it's also made me realise how grateful I am that I have been able to save money, because there's so many people that I see that are homeless on the streets, and I'm like, I completely know why you've fallen through the cracks. I mean, obviously some of it's probably for other reasons, but like, I feel like it's so easy to just fall through the cracks because you can't get a job for some reason, and because you can't get the job, it then means you can't pay your rent, and then all of a sudden you're out on the street and homeless. And yeah, I can't imagine anything worse, because there's been times where I felt like that potentially could have been me if I didn't have my savings. But yeah, I definitely feel like something needs to be done about this working holiday program, because I feel like people are brought here under false pretenses, and particularly I feel like lots of people go to the East Coast, and I completely understand why, because it's beautiful. Like, there are so many beautiful places and everything's so close together, but at the same time there needs to be some sort of incentive to businesses to hire working holiday makers, and it almost needs to be that there's like a specific recruitment agency. I mean, maybe that's a business idea for somebody, that they create a recruitment agency that works with businesses that specifically hire working holiday makers for certain periods of time, because yeah, it's really hard, and I feel like there's a lot of businesses who would really benefit from having working holiday makers. Like, there's so many businesses where they just want casual temporary staff, and it would really benefit them, and they're crying out for it, but then they struggle to almost like advertise the role. Like, it's about knowing what's available, and that's the hardest thing, is finding the jobs in the first place. So maybe, yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe someone needs to set up a recruitment agency that works with businesses and finds the roles and then places the working holiday makers with them. Somebody should hop on that, because I'm not setting up a business while I'm over here, and I don't even know if I can, to be honest. Well, not that sort of business anyway, but yeah, something needs to be done about it, because I know that I'm lucky and lots of people aren't lucky, and I also know, like I've said, that because I'm British I don't have to do the farm work, whereas everyone else in Europe does have to do the farm work, and that in itself is really hard because there's so many scams from what I've seen. Like, so many people seem to post on Facebook saying that they've got scammed, they've had an awful experience, like they've not been paid, someone's not signed off their work, something dodgy's happened, and that's awful. Like, that's horrible, because these are young people. Like, I'd say I'm fairly old to be on a working holiday visa. A lot of people are much younger than I am, and I can't think of anything worse than turning up to a strange place in a strange country, meeting new people, and being in the middle of nowhere, because lots of places in Australia that do the farm work are in the middle of nowhere, and being taken advantage of. Like, that's just horrific. And I know you can report it to like the government over here, but even so, it's just, I don't know, I feel like something needs to be done with it, because everything feels a bit broken with the working holiday system at the moment. But anyway, I'm rambling, this has been going on for ages, I'm gonna go. But I hope you enjoyed the little update. Hope it gave you a little bit of hope that it is possible. It's not going to be easy, it's going to take time, and when you think you've run out of time, like, or when you think you're about to give up, just push one last little bit, because that'll be when you get something. Or if it's just not working, stop, do something else for a bit, and you never know what's going to come your way. Like, I really do feel like sometimes the universe has its own way of helping you out. I don't know how, but it does. Things always seem to work out in the way that you least expect it, and so even if you're feeling rubbish, really low, you're really struggling, try and stay positive. I know it's easier said than done, but something will come along your way, something will work its way out, things will work themselves out, and hopefully you'll have a nice time in Australia, and you'll be able to find some work to help you out along the way. But anyway, hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Hopefully you're all enjoying the vlogs. I'm trying to sort of share the things I get up to, because for me a lot of it's novel, like being able to go to the beach, go to Pilates and stuff. Like, we don't have that in the UK, so I want to show you the good times, but I also want to be realistic and show you the bad things, like all the drama we've had with the van, all the things breaking, it being hard to register it in the first place, struggling to get jobs and things like that. But then I want to show you the good things as well, like obviously all the fun things we get up to, the amazing places we get to go and visit, the road trips, and to sort of show that hopefully the good tends to outweigh the bad, but that everything is not perfect. Like, it's not a perfect Instagram feed, like there is hard times as well. But I feel like that's what makes it a journey, that's what makes it a learning experience and an adventure at the end of the day. And so it's worth sticking with it if you can, because you'll learn so much about yourself and you will grow so much as a person, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Bye.